Hey guys, it's Jack here, and today I guess I just wanted to have a chat about how to cram for the UCAT, as UCAT season is already upon us. I'm making this video a bit late because I procrastinated, but I guess here it is. I hope this helps you guys, and I'll just be having a chat about if the UCAT's coming up soon, and your scores plateaued, what you really should be doing to kind of get past that bottleneck, or if you haven't started practice at all, what you should be doing to make sure you can do as much as possible to be on top of things by the time UCAT rolls around. Now, just to give you a general idea of who I am, my name is Jack, current medical student, Monash, blah blah blah, 99 point whatever ATAR, 3240 on the UCAT, which was 99th percentile when I did it. Not that important, but I guess just to add some credibility to what I'm going to tell you. So in terms of UCAT, one thing that you need to understand is no matter how good you are at doing the questions, when it comes to doing a full mock or a full UCAT exam, the entire situation changes, right? You might be able to do each section very well independently, but when it's all meshed together, the pressure, the anxiety, the stress, it can really get to you. You might not be used to doing 2 hours at a time. So my best starting off piece of advice is to make sure you start off by doing some full mocks. Make sure that's done, and you actually understand what it feels like to be sitting there for 2 hours straight, torturing yourself. Enjoying the UCAT before you properly move on to more detailed practice in terms of fixing each section up. Now, I guess moving away from that big piece of advice, let's talk about each section independently. Now, with VR, by this time, you probably don't have time to increase your reading skills or read faster by large amounts of portions, unless you're willing to dedicate hours upon hours every day into it. But for the large part, you kind of can't really do much for VR other than get better at looking for keywords, looking for qualifiers, which are descriptive words. So just an example of that is if they use, for example, most in a question, that's more likely to be correct than if they use all in the question. Just because, let's just say if I was to make a statement, all Chinese people like rice, right? That's obviously going to be more likely to be incorrect than most Chinese people like rice, right? You kind of see what I'm getting at there. I'm Chinese, please understand. That was not racially motivated. It was the first thing that came into my head. And I apologize if that did offend anyone. But moving on to DM, the second section of the UCAT. DM is one where one thing will make the difference between you doing well and you're not, and that is the whiteboard. Now, I'm not going to go into techniques in too much detail, just because this is a short how to cram video, but the general idea of it and the general idea of DM is to kind of portray the information provided in the STEM as best as possible on the whiteboard. And that way, you can kind of just look at the whiteboard or look at your shortened version of STEM immediately and find out the answer to your logic patterns, your syllogisms, or whatever, right? Especially those ordering patterns where it's like, oh, Tom came first in the race, who came second last, whatever. Make sure you're drawing it out. If you can do it in your head and do it faster than if you're drawing it out, congratulations, you're a genius. You probably don't need any help for DM. But for the most people, less like normal people out here, more normal people out here, probably draw it out on the whiteboard. That's your best bet. That's an important thing to get down pat. Third section, QR, right? It's maths. Now, it's maths, but it really isn't. You just need to know times tables and stuff and finding basic geometry areas. The math isn't too hard, right? You need percentages, ratios, whatnot. If you haven't got that down pat, I recommend maybe touch up on some year 10 maths, just to make sure you're set for that. But the difficulty is more in recognizing what the question is asking you to do. And the best way to do that is to learn from your practice questions, because you don't have time in, a week, 2 weeks, a month to really cover all of it. The best thing you can do is do a practice question. If you're not understanding what it means, write down the specific interpretation of the question type you've encountered, and make sure you never mess up that interpretation again going forwards. That's it for QR. And also get good at using the calculator, which I suggest you get a calculator with a number pad. Like this one, number pad right here. I'm not sure if you can see it. Actually, give me a second. Yeah, this is a number pad, right? Get a keyboard with that, and make sure you get used to using the number pad, because it goes a long way, right? Let's just say you save 2 seconds per question using a number pad. By the end of the next amount of questions, you save like a minute or more, right? I didn't do the math, so don't quote me on that. But you save a lot of time, essentially. Best way to get better at it is using it more when you do questions. If you're cramming, right? If you have extra time, I used to play video games, so that's why I kind of was used to it already, but you don't have time to do that, just use it in your QR questions more and more. Last section, AR, pattern recognition. You should know I cringe a bit saying it, but it is a method I used to cram. No, I didn't really use it to cram, but it's pretty useful for cramming, I guess. It's called the Sperm Rose technique. It's just a list of patterns, really. Normally you wouldn't want to memorize patterns, but if you're cramming, I guess knowing these off the top of your head and being able to recognize when they come up is at least a start. I'm going to have Sperm Rose listed out right here. I don't know where it is. I'll probably edit it and find it being a headache later on, but well, I might not put it in at all if I can't be bothered, but you get the point. Recognizing patterns. There's 3 types, right? Type A, type 1, type 2, type 3. Type 1 patterns are A, B, can't tell. Type 2 and type 3 are pretty easy sequencing ones, and matching ones you should be able to get. But type 1 is the most worth because you find one pattern, right, and you can answer 5 questions, the ones where it's A, B, neither. And that's why I'd recommend spending more time on those as opposed to other ones. I guess, yeah, what else was there? SJT, unless your uni requires it and has a recommended score or whatever, don't worry about it too much. Just make sure, like, if it says, if a granny gets hit by a car, make sure you write, yes, I'm going to help them. That's a very important piece of action. Just don't be a bad person, you'll be fine. That's it for how to cram for the UCAT. If you want more videos like this or a more in-depth video, I'll try to get it out in time, but otherwise, best of luck.